What's good people, and welcome to the Silly, Nerdy, Sometimes Wordy podcast, and I'm your host, BK, and this is episode 28, my Marvel's quick spoiler review and nerdy notes on my thoughts about the Rebel Moon trailer and Aquaman 2 tracking. What's good, everybody? I hope everybody is doing well. And in this week's episode, I'll be doing a quick spoiler review of Marvel Studios' The Marvels and my thoughts on the Rebel Moon trailer, as well as the Aquaman 2 tracking. I hope everybody is doing very well out there this week in this early part of December. Happy holidays. And I'm going to do it a little differently. I want to do the spoiler review first and then get into the nerdy notes about the Rebel Moon trailer and Aquaman information. So let's get into it. As I said, I'm doing a spoiler review of the Marvel's film spoiler review, which includes the post-credit scenes, of course. And I know this is a little late, although the film was out last month, and I haven't had a chance to get this out, and it took me a while to get to see the movie anyways. I want to just go over my thoughts on the film. I know it's been divisive. I'll say it's not done as well as they would like, but Marvel haven't had a lot of hits lately. The last kind of big success financially and critically has been Guardians 3, but focusing on just the film, not all the outside noise that this film has gotten. And I will say there's been a little bit of Black History news. This is the highest grossing film by African American female director. So shout out to you, Nia DaCosta. That is something to celebrate. Very glad about that. And in terms of the film, I enjoyed the film. I thought it was pretty good. For me, it's definitely worth a second viewing. It's definitely worth me wanting to see how the film was made with the behind the scenes feature in terms of what went into that. And for me, I think that's pretty good if I want to see that. And if I say that I don't want to see the behind the scenes feature, I don't want to see how it was made or a second viewing, then that means I don't think I liked it too much to want even to do that. But I enjoyed the film. I thought the pacing of the film was well done. And I know there's been a lot of talk when this was coming out, or previously to it coming out, that the runtime is the shortest Marvel film, MCU film ever out of all of the, I believe this was the 32nd film or so. It's pretty high up there. And this is the shortest runtime out of all of the films. It had a runtime of, it's either 1 hour, 45 minutes or 1 hour, 49 minutes, maybe with the post-credit scenes. And to me, the film did not feel like it should have been longer. Like if it was 2 hours, it would have been right. I feel like what I saw, it worked. It didn't feel like, oh, it was too short. I needed more. It could have been longer. I think it hit a good spot. If it needed to be longer, I'm sure it would have been. But the runtime worked for me. The chemistry between the three actresses, the leads, worked really well. I wish they would have had a chance to do press for the tour, and that possibly, most likely, would have helped with the box office numbers, but it came out right before the agreement on the strike was made, so they didn't get to go and do the press tour. Of course, they did like a media blitz after the strike was ended. The agreement, they've done some press after the movie's been out. But I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the three of them. I liked the continuation of the story from the Miss Marvel TV show on Disney Plus, where the family was in. The family dynamic of this film was very good. I enjoyed that. It's one of the best parts of the film. Not just Miss Marvel's family, but the family dynamic between Monica Rambeau and Captain Marvel, continuing that story from the first film. One of my issues with this film is that there was a conversation between Captain Rambeau and Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, how they, had the conversation about, you left and you didn't come back. They kind of went into it, but I wanted a little more. I wish they would have stayed with that conversation a little more, because I feel like that deserved more. If they could have put 5 or 10 more minutes with that conversation between that, because I feel that deserved more, and we didn't get that. So that was a big issue for me. I wanted more in that conversation because there was so much leading to that, and it should have been more in that moment, in that conversation. But that's what we have. And so, I feel like that should have been a longer conversation between the two of them. In terms of the score, I thought the score was all right. It wasn't terrible. The visual effects didn't take away from anything with the movie. The villain was a little bit better than okay. Justifiable reasons for, the reasons doing what she was doing, but nothing really standoutish about the villain. Interesting fact about the actress that plays the villain: she is engaged, maybe now married, to actor Tom Hiddleston, who plays the character of Loki. So that actress that plays the villain in the Marvels is engaged or now married to Tom Hiddleston, aka Loki. So fun fact there. And in terms of other things in the film, Iman Vellani, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name, the actress that plays Miss Marvel, she was great. She was awesome, and she displays the Marvel fan in all of us in terms of wanting to be a fan and meet them and becoming a hero, and being serious, and she plays that very well. I really enjoyed her performance. I enjoyed the continuation of the family dynamic from her show. That was pretty good. So definitely enjoyed that. In terms of the continuation of Captain Marvel, that was interesting. The singing scene in the kind of the first act of the film, second act of the film, I thought, I didn't really need it, but it was okay. It was fun. It was a funny moment. Interesting how they chose to, have you sing to, speak your language, as opposed to just creating a language. I thought it was all right. It could have been something else, but they tried something, and that's what they went with. And the action sequence, the set pieces, they were pretty good as well. Sam Jackson was good, but he didn't really have a lot to do. but I thought he was pretty good as well. And what else? I think that's about it. The other thing I'll just say is just the post-credit scenes. Of course, there are two post-credit scenes. Well, one mid-credit scene and post-credit scene. There is not one at the very, very, very end. So I would say there's actually two mid-credit scenes. And like I said, spoiler review. The first one, which I'm probably not going in the right order, but there was one where there is a recall of Miss Marvel kind of doing what Sam Jackson did, what Nick Fury did at the end of Iron Man, where he's showing up and recruiting Tony Stark to be a part of what we now know is the Avengers Initiative. And so Miss Marvel is doing the same thing, where she's doing that with the young Hawkeye character, which the character escapes me right now. Kate Bishop. She's recruiting her to become part of the Young Avengers. So that's something that they have been talking about it and teased at it. Whether it's going to be a full-on movie, who knows? So they mentioned, like I said, Kate Bishop was in the scene. And then, of course, they mentioned the character that plays Ant-Man's daughter as well. So it's the three of them so far. So they are looking into doing the Young Avengers, whether it be a film or a Disney Plus series. And then the other post-credit scene, which was amazing, was, as you know, the end of the movie, Captain Rambeau's character had to seal off the hole in time and space, and so she had to do it from the other side, so she could not go back to her time and space. And she wakes up in a hospital room, and she gets up, she sees what initially she thinks is her mother, and ultimately it is not her mother. It is the same actress that plays her mother, but Lashana Lynch, but she's in an alternate universe, and someone comes into the room, and it ends up being Beast of the X-Men, spoiler alert. And that was like a oh crap moment. Like, yes, the X-Men are officially in the MCU, and that was awesome. And then what Captain Rambeau thought was her mom, the character was actually binary. She was in the outfit and everything. Of course, I am not familiar with the character of Binary, but I'm sure I will get familiar with her soon. And so, and then also the actor that plays Beast was the Kelsey Grammer version of Beast. And then he mentioned that Dr. Xavier is calling him. So now the X-Men are in the MCU. So that's a good way to get them in there. And then she ends up saying, oh, crap, I'm not going to, use the explicitive. But, and then the post-credit scene ends. So that was pretty amazing. So very good post-credit scene. And that is my thought on the movie. I recommend you see it. If you don't, it's all right. It'll be on Disney Plus in a few months. I believe it will be out of the theaters pretty soon, which is kind of short, unfortunately. It has not, like I said, definitely didn't do the same with the original film Captain Marvel did. It's not going to make $1 billion. But I enjoyed it. That was my spoiler review. And that's that. Okay. Now, like I said, I changed the order up. Normally I do the nerdy notes at the beginning, but I wanted to do it at the end. So now let's get into the nerdy notes. And this episode, Nerdy Notes, I want to focus on the Zack Snyder film, upcoming film, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Recently released an official trailer a couple weeks ago. I think it's been about 3 weeks. There was a teaser trailer, a rather long teaser trailer, released 3 months ago. But this recent trailer came out, and very excited about it. This film is coming out on Netflix on December 22nd. Of course, right now, the film is out in select theaters for people to see in select cities and countries. So if you're in one of those locations to see this film in theaters, I highly recommend you go and check it out. The rest of us will wait until December 22nd to see it on Netflix. And this film it looks really, really fun, looks really good, looks really epic. And Zack Snyder is the director behind this film. And there's a little story behind it. He went to, I don't know, it was Lucasfilm or George Lucas himself. He pitched this idea to them years and years ago. Ultimately, they said no, but he kept working on it, obviously, and now he's ready to release it. So this is a little bit Star Wars inspired, Dune, and it looks amazing. I'm very excited to see it. The cast of this film, I'll just read off some of the people that were featured in the trailer itself. The lead of the film is Sophia Boutella. She plays Cora. And then there's Charlie Hunnam, who plays Kia. Ed Scarin, who plays Admiral Atticus Noble, which I believe is the main villain you see. And sorry for mispronouncing these names. And there's Ray Fisher, who plays Darian Blood. Of course, Ray Fisher was in the DCEU films. He played Cyborg. And we have the great Anthony Hopkins. He looks to be playing a robot or a droid, plays Jimmy. And then we have Hansu, who plays General Titus, and Michael Huseman, who plays Gunnar. And this film it looks pretty epic. The music, the shots in this trailer, the action, the story is basically someone that used to be a general, someone in war, is just living on this planet, just kind of being quiet, not wanting to cause any trouble. And apparently word gets out that she's on this planet, and they come looking for her, and everything kind of goes from there. And then she has to find people to fight with, kind of like fighting the Empire, so to speak. But it's not the Empire in this movie, obviously. And she's a very skilled fighter and leader, and we see glimpses of that in the trailer. And so she goes searching for a team to fight with, and then the story goes on from there. That's the gist of it. And yeah, this looks like a great trailer. I recommend that you go check it out. It's online now. And yeah, I'm super, super hyped to see this film on Netflix. Wish I could see it in a trailer, but yeah, Zack Snyder always does great stuff. Of course, he's done Man of Steel, he's done 300, and a lot of other DC films as well. And yeah, go check out the trailer online. It's on Netflix, on your Netflix account as well. You just search for Rebel Moon and you can watch the trailer there as well. So I'm super hyped for this film. Definitely will be watching it. The other thing I want to talk about is another upcoming film that happens to be releasing the same day as Rebel Moon, which is Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. This is a follow-up to the first Aquaman film from director James Wan, and it's tracking to make $32 to $42 million domestically. And tracking is when they project how much money that the film is going to make on opening weekend. And that those numbers that I just read off, that it's not very good. 32 to 42 million. The budget is reportedly from comicbook.com. The film has a budget of $205 million. That means it has $205 million is what it costs to make this Aquaman film. And you have a tracking of 32 to 42 million. That is not good. You're not getting a profit there, but you never know. This film now has the benefit of the strike being over so that they can do press for it and promote it and do the premiere. So hopefully that will help, and maybe word of mouth. The first Aquaman film, it grossed $1 billion worldwide. And not sure if this one is going to get to it. Of course, there were a lot of more than the normal amount of reshoots. Of course, reshoots are a part of every film, but this one had more than the normal. I believe it had about 4 or more reshoots. There's not a lot of competition for this film. There obviously Wonka is coming out 2 weeks before that. That's the story, the prequel to Willy Wonka. That's out December 15th. However, that is a part of the same studio. It also is from Warner Brothers. So they're both getting the same, Warner Brothers is getting all the money, but it's that's the only competition it has. And not much else is coming out for the rest of the year this month. Of course, The Color Purple, that is coming out, but that's going to be released on Christmas Day. But it's just unfortunate that it's doesn't have the buzz, and people have said it's not very good. And this is the very last DCEU film, and then of course the next ones after this one will be the James Gunn's new DCU stuff that will start in 2025 with Superman Legacy. And yeah, hopefully it does well. I'm still going to go see this movie. I'm excited about it, but it's interesting how it's not tracking to do well, but that could all change. So we'll see how it goes. And that is all I have for you today. And hope you enjoyed the film review and just talking about a little bit of a trailer review of Rebel Moon. Also, I said Rebel Moon Part 1 is coming out December 22nd. The second part of Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, that is set to release on Netflix on April 19, 2024. So we won't have to wait too long for Part 2 because I've heard it ends on an epic cliffhanger. But 3 months later or so, we get Part 2. So that's great. That's all I have, and hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, subscribe on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Tell your friends, coworkers about it. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. And so now, until next time, we will talk soon.